Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special Refugee Week event brought to you by the Hummingbird Project and Ambia. My name is Nakeem Saeed. I'm one of the Hummingbird Project's young leaders. But what is the Hummingbird Project? It's a branch-based charity that supports young refugees locally and campaign nationally. Hummingbird Project provides a wide range of youth-led activities, all run to provide young refugees with the care and support they needed. The theme of this year, Refugee Week, is Imagine. And tonight, we want you to imagine a better future for yourself. So this event is formed of two parts. Firstly, we will be inspired by the amazing three speakers from refugee background who will share their story of a time they achieved an ambition important to them. And after that, we will be hearing from people who would like your help to achieve a goal they currently have. Here is Adam Ambigo to explain more.
Hi everybody, yes, I'm Adam from Ambigo. Now, unfortunately, Nakeem does have a few technical problems, so you might not have been able to pick up everything he was telling us there. But what he was explaining is that this event is going to be featuring two parts. The first part is some three inspiring speakers who are going to be talking about their stories of having achieved something in the past. And then after that, that's where Ambigo comes on board and gets involved, because we'll be hearing from you. So, we're a not-for-profit organisation, Ambigo, that works to strengthen community cohesion. So this evening, we have 4 people waiting to tell you what it is they'd like to do. And this includes a Syrian market stall holder wanting to share his country's cuisine, and somebody hoping to make a film telling the story of a Zimbabwean refugee. And the 4 lovely participants will tell us what would help them achieve their goals. Then the invitation will be open to you to offer any information, contacts, advice, or other support to help them realize their goals. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see you later. Let's see if we can hear Nakeeb this time. Go, Nakeeb.
Thanks, Adam, for explaining the technical problem. So let's hear from our speakers now. But before that, we would love to have your thoughts on what you heard this evening. So simply write a comment underneath the Facebook video or the YouTube, and we might share your one. So our first speaker is a multi-talented woman called Patty Bangoni. She is a visual artist. She's a mindset, therapeutic art life coach. She is an online business development coach. She is an award-winning artist, and she is a Refugee Week ambassador. Welcome, Patty. We would love to hear your story.
Hi, Patty.
Yes. Hi, I lost you there, and I wasn't sure whether I should just be speaking or what.
No, Patty, we can't hear you, unfortunately. We can't hear you very well at all. I think if, strange as this is, I think if at least one of us stays on the screen with you, then we can hear you. So I'm going to disappear and leave you with Nakeeb.
Bye, Adam.
Yes. Okay. Hi. Well, thank you very much. I just want to say thank you for inviting me, to be one of the speakers basically in your program. So, thank you. So the theme for Refugee Week 2020 is Imagine. So what do you see when you imagine a better future for yourself? This is actually a subject that is very close to my heart, because I'm a strong believer in each and every one of us doing our best to become our best selves. Being your best self means living the life you are happy with, doing what you love, and being the best version of yourself, whoever you are, whatever you are, and wherever you're from. And I believe life is a gift, and you need to live it like you appreciate it. Personally, I believe being the best version of yourself means you look at your life in a holistic manner and start working on each and every one of those areas to become the best you can be. It's also therefore very important to identify your values, your purpose and ambitions in order to live a fulfilled, happy life. So you may be asking me, Patty, how do I do that? So the thing is, did you know that there's value and gold in your story? If most of us believed and learned how to use our stories to empower ourselves as well as others, we would realize and be so surprised at how much value we have been sitting on and giving away and serving from an empty cup, basically, which is definitely unhealthy for us, in that it leaves us feeling drained and constantly struggling financially. Your story can either empower you or disempower you. The choice is yours. On the other hand, I'm conscious that this hasn't been a choice for many people because they just don't know how to do that, how to use their story to empower themselves and others while being validated and being financially rewarded for the value they give to others. I'm to share with you a story of when I've achieved a goal in my life. So the story I choose to share with you is one that empowered me, gave me freedom and the ability to keep my focus on what I had control over and let go of what I had no control over, and therefore give me the opportunity to grow and develop to becoming the best me that I could be. And that goal was to let go of one limiting belief. And that belief was and is the feeling of not feeling enough, not feeling good enough. Yes, this was a belief that affected me and affects a lot of people, and the root cause comes from past experience. So at times it may not be obvious to you. It may not be obvious to you that you actually have this limiting belief, but it actually manifests itself in you accepting to be treated less than you should be, or accepting to be doing things that you're not comfortable with, that don't sit well with you. So the day I achieved a goal was the day I accepted that I am enough, I am good enough, and that I am perfectly okay as I am. I can achieve anything I choose to focus my mind on, provided that my desire is genuine and it serves others as well as serves me. So it's a win-win. The day I liberated myself from feeling I had to people please or engage in any activity that didn't suit me was a day of freedom for me. It was a day that gave me the confidence to be a go-getter, the confidence to believe that if I want it, I can do it. That I was comfortable in my own skin as I am as a person, that it was my God given right to be myself, live a happy life of purpose, identify the lessons in my life, both ups and downs, and use my downfalls to learn from and empower myself. And with that, I found that I was able to empower other people as well. It was the day I made a decision to take responsibility for my actions and not hide behind or point blame at those that have hurt me or disappointed me. It was a day I decided to see and identify my own value and the value I have to give to others, and made a decision to work on serving from the overflow of my cup rather than constantly giving out of an empty cup. It was a day I made a decision for myself that if I wanted a better future for myself, I had to make it happen. So I sought to learn, get educated, and not only from school and university, but online education too. I spent sleepless nights studying, listening, and writing material that was beneficial to me and my growth. I decided to validate myself rather than wait to be validated. There's nothing you do in life that goes without notice. So many a time I just worked just doing me as I do, painting, exhibiting, running workshops in schools and the community, and serving in my community. And one day in 2019, I had one of the most amazing emails from a lady I knew from the community who has known me for well over 18 years in Brighton and Hove, notifying me that she had nominated me for an Artist Fellowship Award in New York City. Without going into details, this was such an amazing, profound experience of my life. And my visit to New York was such an amazing eye opener, which afforded me the opportunity to just switch off and be invested in as an artist without any pressure of huge expectation on me, but rather the focus being on my development and growth as an artist. I spent 30 days there and have been working on a body of work in response to my visit. I live with this experience every day. And when changes happen, I remind myself, hey, you spent 30 days in a country you had never been to before, mixing and learning from people of all different cultures and backgrounds, following instructions and directions scheduled for you to go from point A to B to C by different means of transport around New York City and Washington, D.C. So, with this in mind, I want to leave you with a word of encouragement. Always do the best you can in all you do. If you have an ambition to achieve, never give up. Life will happen as it does, but keep your focus on what you have control over and just be yourself, be comfortable in your own skin, whoever you are, whatever you are. After all, you can't change it anyway, even if you wanted to. Michael Jackson tried, but we all always knew who he was. No judgment on him because none of us were in his shoes to know why he made the decisions he made. Your job is to make the decisions about who you are and who you want to be and what you want in life. You are enough and perfectly fine with who you are. Decide on your call, your ambition, and follow your heart. And if you are a refugee who is not allowed to work, start writing your book, your story, because that's where your power lies. And know that your story is your business. Your previous and current skills, knowledge, and wisdom are worth so much more than you ever imagined. So write it. And when the time is right, use it to empower yourself and empower others while being rewarded for it financially. Aim to give out of the overflow of your cup rather than from an empty cup. The internet is available to everybody, refugee or no refugee. You can learn how to turn your skills, knowledge, and life lessons into an online business for yourself when you have permission to work. So, when you imagine your future, what do you see? Who are you? Where are you now? And how has your past shaped you? How can you utilize your past and draw upon your skills, knowledge, and expertise to create the future you want? Patim Guni here. I hope you've been blessed. Life is a gift. Live it like you appreciate it and be the best you can be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bertie. That's very inspirational. Wow, it's really
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
Remember, if you guys want to share your thoughts about Patty's words or any of our speakers, you can leave your comments underneath the Facebook or video or YouTube video you're watching. So next, we have the pleasure of introducing someone who has come a long way since her arrival in the UK. She's from Syria she's here to tell you all about her success and adapted life in Britain. Here is Russell Ahmad. Russell, thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, I'm not Rossell. I will admit that much.
Oh.
Rossell hasn't actually joined us quite yet. So we're going to hear from her very shortly, I'm sure, because hopefully, if you're watching, Rossell, we're ready for you. But we have had a little comment come through here from Charlotte, who's just said, wow, so powerful, in response to Patty's talk there. Do you think we could perhaps go to Percy next, if Percy is ready? I wonder if Percy is waiting. So Percy is the third speaker this evening. So give us a thumbs up, Percy, if you're ready. I think he's frozen. Can you hear us, Percy? Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us and you're ready to go. I don't think Percy can hear us. Well, in the meantime, Here's a little comment here from Graham. Do you want to read it, Nakib?
Yep. It says, amazing work. You're doing fabulous. Keep going. Thank you.
Okay. So Nakib, Percy is ready. If you'd like to go to Percy instead.
Okay. Yep. So our next speaker is Percival December. Like me, he's a hummingbird young leader. Unlike me, he's also a macho boxer. But we have the pleasure of not just hearing Percy's story of achievement, but he's also written a really nice poem, especially for us. Welcome, Percy. Please share your story with us. Can you
Hello
hear us,
everyone.
Percy?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you very well. Hello everyone. My name is Percival Tusamba. I am a hummingbird young leader. We are a group of young people working together to create a better future for young refugees. As a young leader, we've been learning skills and knowledge to become a great leader so we can give back to our community. My goal as a leader is to reach as many people as possible, to change minds and do all I can to help others. The coronavirus has been a challenge time for us, but we don't give up. So instead, we have been doing video challenge every week to always work on our skills. We have also been meeting online with other young leaders from around the country, where we discuss and share our ideas about leadership, community, and communication. I believe that developing and sharing our knowledge is the key to great leadership, especially in hard times. Many people think about the journey of refugee in terms of them leaving their home. But today, I want to talk to you about some of the experience after arriving in the UK, making this my home. When I first arrived here, it was hard to get along with people and quite hard to understand them. People used to speak very fast, so I tend to keep quiet most of the time. I was constantly worried that I would be judged for the way I sound. I got lost a couple of times when using the train. So on the first couple of months, I needed help with shopping and how to use public transports. It may sound funny, but I hate the cold. English weather was not easy to cope with. I always found interesting the fact that we can have 4 seasons in one day. It took a while to adapt. With all things, whether it's building up my confidence in public or learning to see the past, the wind and rain, good people were essential to get me to where I am today. The key workers at home and friends I met through learning to box have played a huge role in my adaptation and my growth, especially my social worker at that time. She was really caring. However, with all the ups and downs, I would not change anything if I could. If I could go back and give myself some good advice, I probably would say try to talk more and express yourself. So today, I want you to think about how you can make the lives of other young leaders, people, arrive in the UK easier and less challenging. Here are 3 things you can do right away. Number 1, be more open-minded and less judgmental. The media has played a huge role in the way society sees asylum seekers and young refugees, much of which increased discrimination, racism, and xenophobia. In acceptance are deeply connected, and one cannot succeed without the other. I have learned so clearly Black Lives Matter as discrimination is a job, not just oppressed. And by the way, There's no such thing as illegal refugees. Number two, offer communication and trust. Communication is a key for a good relationship, and with them comes trust. Most of young people found hard to open up in the couple weeks and months because of lack of trust. Partly because it can be very hard find to find people to place your trust in when you live in home and traveling along to a place of safety. So when you meet a young people for the first time who are new in the UK, it's important to not rush and let them take time to build up trust. Number three, volunteer your time and skills. When asylum seekers and young refugees arrive in the country, they often go through a long wait. This creates lots of doubt, anxiety, and fear. As a result, most of us stay stuck at home and with nothing to do. You can help a young people to integrate into the new culture by volunteering yourself to organization in your community where you can teach, coach, and share your knowledge and experience. Everyone wins. Before I go, I want to refocus our attention to what's going in the USA and around the world right now. We're seeing people coming together and protesting against the systematic racism. As a young Black person living here, I can feel and I have experienced racism. I was racially profiled and called names. I find it difficult to understand how people can be ignorant toward race. One of my passions is poetry, and I would like to leave you today by sharing my poem I written. We are born as a hero with a heart of a winner, but we treat as a demon by a hand of a killer. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I am Black, young, and already guilty. My blood spread across the streets every time my heart beats. Dry cry, purple sky. My skin is always crucified. Your act is always glorified, and your actions are never identified. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. My struggle is your joy, and my destiny your toy. Tired of hoping and prayers. We need justice, and we need it now. Rest in peace, George Floyd.
Thank you very much, Percy. It's a privilege to hear your story.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you for
amazing.
your time and for listening to me today. Cheers.
Thank you. Hi, Toby. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fine. What am I doing here?
Thank you for joining us.
That was
Yeah,
that was fantastic, Percy. You did the most amazing job there. Your poem is just really beautifully delivered, and just some really fantastic words as well. Just
yeah, and we got really good comments coming up also, saying like so wonderful what you're all doing. Thank you, powerful message being shared. Very patriotic too. We got wow, that was so touching. Well done, Percy. Yeah, so we have Toby with us, and he will share with us what is actually the Hummingbird Young Leader program and what they're doing.
Cool. Thanks, Nakib. Yeah, so obviously you've been hearing from Nakib, who's one of the Hummingbird Young Leader graduates, and from Percy, who's one of the current young leaders. So I work with the Hummingbird Project along with Elaine. Say hello, Elaine. Hello. I run the Young Leaders program, and we've been doing that for, gosh, 3 years now, coming up to. So, and originally started as a way of coaching and training young people like Nakib and Percy to be sort of more prepared, I suppose, for public speaking and being able to go and provide a voice to other young refugees from across the country and so on. And you've been working tirelessly and been working very hard and just been going from one very impressive strength to the next. And, you know, most notably at the end of last year, winning your parliamentary award as well, which was my personal highlight, of course, as well. So yeah, we've just been, and obviously COVID-19 has been an interesting time for us because we've not been able to meet, and a lot of, as Percy mentioned in his talk, that we've been meeting online a lot and completing video challenges and just really being very committed around just making sure that we can always be improving our skills and creating a community amongst each other. And obviously that leads to all sorts of exciting things like Percy being able to speak to you today as well and using some of his recently improved public speaking skills as well. So yeah, that's what we've been up to.
Thank you very much, Truly, for joining us. Percy, you got another comment. It says beautiful poem. It's getting viral, mate. Well done. You got a great job.
Very good. Anything else to keep, or am I free to go?
If you can share with us, what's the next step for the young leaders?
That's an excellent question. Well, hopefully once we're out the other side of COVID-19, we'll be able to meet again all in person and start working on our sort of workshops and training programs again. And we're also working on a campaign with Safe Passage. I can see Ruth down in the corner here as well. She's joining us. And we've been working on a campaign together in order to sort of bring it more attention to some of the changes that are going through government at the moment around the immigration bill and how that's affecting family unification and making sure that we're doing all that we can, both as people working with and as young refugees, making sure that we can bring as much awareness to those issues and those challenges at the moment, and to make sure that young people that are separated from their families don't have to be, as much as and trying to change that and impact that as much as we can. So that's what we're working on at the moment. And obviously coming out of COVID-19, working on as many exciting opportunities as possible to come together and talk about all the exciting things that you guys are up to.
Thank you very much. We wish you all the luck. And Percy, we got another 2 comments for you. It says, wow, Percy, thank you so much for sharing your experience of adapting to the UK, and also we got one more for the lines of 3. Thank you, Percy. So thank you very much for joining. Now, this conversation actually.
Okay, so Naguib has turned into a Dalek, it's official, but what he was trying to say was that now we're going to hand over to Adam, because after being inspired by those talks that we've just heard there from Patty and from Percival, it's time to start getting on with the juicy business of actually helping people who have goals currently to get a bit closer to them. So at Ambigo, what we do is we put on events in person normally to bring people together to exchange their support for each other's personal goals, ideas, and ambitions. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. So I'm going to bring in Andy, who's my friend and colleague, and he's over in our 5-way studio. And normally, Andy, we run events that are based around the Wall of Ambitions. Now, we're doing it online now, but what is the Wall of Ambitions?
A straight lead, thank you very much. The Wall of Ambitions is a 7, maybe 8 foot tall black monolith object that sits and leers at you. Well, it doesn't actually. It's a place where we invite people to fill in an ambition calling card. That's a little sheet of paper which with a little summary of what that ambition or passion or goal is that you would like to do. And maybe a call for help, something that you'd like help with. It might be a nice general thing like, I don't know how to start. Or it might be quite something really specific like, do you know someone who could do that printing for me? It doesn't really matter, just a little general question. And what we do is we invite people to put it up on this wall, which, as Adam says, normally sits in a nice public space. New Road, Kent Town Carnival, end of your street if we possibly could. And we allow people, we positively invite people to come and very gently browse these ambitions. And over the day, the whole wall fills up with people's dreams. And you can have a little look. And if you become inspired, then we invite you to grab a post-it note and maybe one of these kind of colored pens and leave a comment, word of encouragement, maybe a tip, piece of advice, stuff like that. And that's our way of just promoting, supporting, facilitating the exchange of ideas, exchange of passion, exchange of interest, and so on. And before you know it, the whole wall becomes covered in people's little ambition calling cards and a plethora, there's a word I've been practicing, of post-it notes all over the place, festooning the thing, making it look like a glorious exchange of excitement. Our pledge, whenever we go out and hang around on street corners, or our pledge to you as we're hanging around on this internet street corner, is if you make a comment or someone else makes a comment to someone who's left an ambition, we will get that comment through to the person whose ambition it is. We'll help make that connection. That, in short, is what the Wall of Ambition is. Adam.
So what we're going to do is we're going to be hearing from several people who are going to be sharing their goals, ideas, and ambitions with us. And they so happen this evening to be all on a refugee theme, because this is the start of Refugee Week. It's Imagine. That's the theme of this year's Refugee Week. So as the title of this event suggests, we're asking you to imagine a better future for yourself. So we're going to bring in our first participant now, who is somebody called Naja. And Naja is somebody I communicated with a little while ago about his Syrian food business. Good evening, Naja. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Adam. How are you?
I am terrific. Thank you very much for joining us. And I'm very excited to hear all about your ambition, because what we're going to do is we're going to hear about what it is and how people might be able to help you. And then you watching at home, it's your opportunity to do something that feels great. And you will have the chance to offer your information, contacts, advice, or any other kind of support you think might be able to help Naja and the following participants. And all you have to do is leave a quick comment on the video you're watching, and then we'll be able to pass it on to Naja. So Naja, please tell us about what your ambition is.
Actually, I have many invitations, but my first one, open the Syrian restaurants, a chain in England.
Wow.
This first one. Yeah. And because people here so like it, my food, and before open in the market, I am going to market looking for the food, what making, but I didn't see anything for any food, vegetarian food or vegan food. I open the market, the people like it, and now I have some customers. Yeah.
So I'm really happy about this, because I myself am not a meat eater. So I'm really looking forward to trying your Syrian vegetarian food.
You're welcome.
You have a market stall at the moment. And why is it so important to you to share the food from your country, from Syria?
Because to rely myself, and I can teach my children in the future in the universities, and to be active member in the community.
عم يقول لك ليش حابب انت تدوق العالم اكلك؟
And because looking for a new food in England, change. And I have falafel. I make falafel. The people here so surprised when I open falafel, fresh falafel, no shopping, no. So like it. Yeah.
And what could people help you with at the moment to help your ambition come true of having a Syrian vegetarian food chain across the country?
Actually, I find someone I need to find someone that supports me, opens my store, and in slowly bigger in the future, and more clean for the market, and I can open every day. Now I can't open every day, just 5 hour or 6 hour in the week. And some places, and in the winter so difficult for me, and because I open the market in the gazebo.
Okay, and you were telling me about how you were hoping to find a premises, so an actual store, a physical building that you can sell your food from.
Yes, yeah. And in the Horsham didn't have anything for meat halal or Syrian food or Pakistan food or chicken halal, nothing. When any family, when I want any meat halal, going to Crowley or a bread, Syrian bread, I can make it, and I can make it more food, but I can't now because it's small in the market, and I didn't have many more time.
So to summarize, your goal is to have a Syrian vegetarian food or Syrian food cuisine chain going across the country.
Yeah, exactly.
You felt there's a bit of a gap in the market there. There's not too much Syrian food offerings out there. And what you need help with is somebody to help you, a team member to get on board, and also at the moment a premises as well, so that you can start to sell your produce. Yeah. Is there anything else that you need?
Thank you so much, Mr. Adam. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So that's everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And can I ask you as well, how long have you been cooking? Have you always cooked your whole life?
Actually, this is my favorite. Favorite. I cooking my in the job 1 year ago. Start here, open the market, and going to university take certificate for chef. And I like it, my food. Sometimes make food in my home and for my friends, and make barbecue and anything for the food.
And what's your favorite dish?
Meat.
Terrific. Right. So what I'm going to do, barbecue.
Yes.
Well, sooner rather than later, I'm sure you'll be able to host a Syrian barbecue for us all. Let's go over to Andy now, because Andy has been writing down your ambition. So let's bring him in and see if he's been able to get down everything.
Okay.
Hello, Najjar.
Hello, Mr. Andy.
It's a pleasure to meet you, my friend. And it's a lovely,
thank you so much.
It's a lovely ambition. I've got to admit, when you get that Syrian barbecue up and running, I think I'll be hanging around, coming out, coming to taste your food and everything. I look forward to it.
More than welcome anytime.
Yeah, it's making me hungry. Anyway, my job is to try and summarize your ambition onto our little ambition calling card in my bestest handwriting, which is not that good, but it's good enough. And then what I want to do is just check with you that what I've written on this is pretty much what you've told us. Are you okay for me to run through this?
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. Let me talk through. Najjar, of your many ambitions, thank you very much for sharing that. We're focusing in on you're wanting to open a Syrian restaurant in England, and as your conversation with Adam has gone on, we're talking about a chain here, something that grows into a big, wonderful collection of many restaurants. Featuring vegan and vegetarian food. And between you and me, and just me and you, Adam loves vegan food. So, you know, it's no surprise to me that he got very excited. I also am happy to eat meat. So, you know, I'll be there with you on the barbecue.
Thank you so much.
And you're currently working, well, before lockdown, before the COVID thing hit us, you were in a market working from a gazebo, that's right, is it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But your dream is for that to grow, for you to be able to not just sell from that one marketplace, but from many locations.
Exactly.
And your recipes and your food go even further across the country. And in the way we have other types of foods that have become very popular over here, it'd be interesting to see if Syrian food becomes popular as well. I imagine it will do.
Yeah, I like this idea.
Yeah, so do I.
And the people like this idea so much.
Yes.
And the customer when come,
yeah,
sell anything for me. You can make for party. You can make food for event.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a people so like it.
That's a lovely idea. So there's opportunity to do catering as well as to sell food to people live. So in terms of the call for help, what I need, what you might need help with, there's two things that I heard. One is, especially as we come out of and we're able to do more trade, is help with developing the business. A colleague, someone who can not only help attend the store because there's limited time that you can do, and that's going to help you keep the store open for longer.
Exactly.
But also, I'm hearing in there, you know, a little bit of business help, some of that kind of stuff of actually putting the business together.
Yes,
and you know, we've had other people who've been interested in doing catering who've told us just how much work has to be done in sourcing all the ingredients, in cooking all the ingredients up, in packaging them up, as well as running the money side of the business. So I'm aware just how much work you're looking at here. So a business partner sounds like a very good thing to ask for.
Yes. Good idea. Yeah, good idea.
Also, and correct me if I am wrong, I heard that you're looking for a premises. I know Adam mentioned it. This is something that's bigger, more established than a gazebo, that presumably is your kitchen and a serving area and maybe an eating area.
Especially in the winter.
Yes, that makes sense.
So hard.
Yes, cool.
Yeah. And windy and so difficult.
Yeah. So
and not more customer.
True.
Yeah.
It sounds like a very sensible next step from the gazebo.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so you have something more permanent that you can maybe put up more decorations, give it a style, give it a feeling, and people can.
Yeah, I make my food. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I make more food. I have so more food. Lovely. I can not, but now I can't.
No, so that makes a lot of sense. Okay, is that about right? Have I caught all the information there?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Good.
Correct.
In that
Thank
case,
you so much.
What I'm going to do, with your permission, is I'm going to swap cameras. Here we go. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. This is me.
Hi.
Yes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take your ambition and I'm going to put it on the wall. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You okay with that? Here we go. And it's a pleasure to be able to put your ambition up as one of the first ambitions for today.
Thank you so much.
Normally, this would go up in one of our public spaces and we get people wandering around. And we often, not always, we often have little snacks, little bits of food and so on that helps tempt people in and so on. And they just read these ambitions at their own pace. And it's from that they start thinking, maybe I know someone with a disused shop that could be adapted. Or I know someone who knows somebody who's in one of the markets who might be able to get you connected. Or I know somebody who's looking for a job who also loves Syrian food, who would maybe like to have a chat with you about becoming a business.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So this is what tends to happen. Sadly, we can't be out in public, as you know. So what we're doing here is broadcasting this live to all the people around Brighton and Hove, and the show, the whole video stays available on the internet afterwards, and we'll be gathering people's comments as time goes on and putting them up. Normally, people would write them on nice posts and so on, and then our pledge to you is if something really useful comes in, like someone says, I know somebody who can do this, or I run a business myself and I've got tips on how to move to the next stage, or somebody who says, yes, I actually want to join you and become your business partner, anything like that. If anyone kind of makes a comment like that, we promise to make that connection for you. With that in mind, is there anything else that you think you might like?
Actually, not now.
No, but you've been
not now. Now I like it first for the food, because I want more language. Learn language.
This is a great way of learning. Actually doing and mixing with people.
Speaking with the customer.
Yeah. If I wore a hat, I would doff it to you. I would
exactly. Thank you so much.
Najat, what I want to do now then is invite everybody who's watching to please make a comment, maybe a few words of encouragement. Like I said, if you run a business in Brighton and Hove, if you've been doing the food catering thing or the pop-up and you've moved from that small business to an established premises, tips and advice, maybe something that Najat doesn't know. He might know it, but maybe it's something he doesn't know. Then let him know. And of course, if you want to join him, if you want to, get involved in his business, do so. There was a little comment that flashed up. We'll get Adam to tell us what that was a little in a moment. What I'd like to do then is just spend a moment inviting Adam back in to the show with us. There he is. Okay. Because Najat, what I want to do is I want to ask Adam to let people know in the friendliest way possible how they could send in a comment.
Yeah, there are 3 ways to do it. So one way is to do what a couple of people have already done for you, Najat, and that is to comment underneath the Facebook video you're watching, or on YouTube, if that's where you're watching this. It will appear on our screens and we can bring it up on screen. Or you can click on the link that you'll see accompanying this video, and you'll actually join us here on this broadcast. You'll be in a backstage area, and then we can bring you in and you can explain yourself what it is that you want to say. Or you can also use WhatsApp, if that's what you prefer. You'll see a number scrolling across the bottom of your screen in just a second. And we've got somebody very nice called Agatha who's waiting for your messages, and she'll pass them on to us. So you're right, Andy, we do have a couple of comments.
What I have 2 messages?
Here we are. So here's one message for you, Naja. So Charlotte has asked, where are you based? She would love to try. So do you want to just say where you are based now at the moment?
Okay.
Where I can on the chat I have to bring.
On the chat I have to bring here.
No. Also, Charlotte, can you see the message on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Charlotte's on the screen there. She's asking, where are you based currently?
Yeah.
In Horsham Carfast.
Okay. Over in Horsham.
I open every Saturday. Sometimes it takes Thursday.
Okay, good stuff. So I think actually what we can do
is 8 in morning for 4 or 5 afternoon.
Yes.
Afternoon.
Oh, great. So what we can do here is we can do a nifty little share screen, and we can have a look at the Syrian kitchen. So there it is.
Yeah.
That is a good-looking gazebo, Najat.
Thank you so much.
So, and also we can see some of the food here.
Oh,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, this tabbouleh.
Yes.
Mhm. And that's your falafel, surely.
This falafel with hummus with tahini and aubergine with garlic.
Oh, yum.
This falafel wrap. This inside.
Yes.
Falafel with salad. This falafel with hummus with tahini.
Delicious.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Thanks so much for sharing that. And we have another comment for you here, Najah. This one is from Patsy.
Yes.
And Patsy says, I've only just heard that you're in the Brighton area. I'm in North Wales, and I know that the Red Cross helped to set up this project in West Wales. They might be able to give you some advice. So she's put a link there, and it's something called the Syrian Dinner Project. So after we've concluded the event tonight, Najah, we'll pass on that link to you. We'll send it to you by email to make sure you've got that, so you can have a look.
Thank you, Patsy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Patsy. And also a comment from Lampam Ianotti, who says, I would love to try Syrian vegetarian food. Would you do home delivery? I would order in a flash.
Yes, I can.
All right.
Perfect.
Good.
Well, if nothing else, we've got you some business.
Thank you so much.
Lovely. And I think Elaine has also got a comment she'd like to share. Do you want to come on and share it with us, Elaine?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Here's
good.
Elaine. I'm going to come back to you in a moment, Andy. It's just so we can all see the screen. Go ahead, Elaine. You're on mute. There we are.
Amazing. I wanted to say that we've got an amazing community who's been funding our work, the Hummingbird Project, for the last 5 years, and they're really, really generous. And if you're happy, I can put this out onto Facebook just to see if there's any generous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Also, the council often has empty buildings that are not in use, and sometimes it's worth just emailing. Maybe I can pass on some details on to Adam, and he can pass it on to you, just to see if there's any empty buildings that will be low in rent and more affordable, because I know Brighton area is quite expensive.
Great idea. Thank you. Great idea. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Elaine. That's great. We'll hear from you a little later on. Much appreciated. Okay, how about that, Najah?
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping me.
Not at all. And one final comment from Michelle. Looks like amazing food. Wishing you loads of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'll be in touch with you just to summarize that information for you, Najah. Yeah, we'll be in touch with any more support that comes through from the people who watch this later on. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Mr. Adam.
And you. Thank you, Najah. Much
Thank you.
appreciated. And we've also had a comment from Patty, who spoke earlier in our little internal chat here, saying it's amazing, great. And Percival, who also spoke earlier, has asked, what's the name of the Facebook page for Najah? And the Facebook page is called Syrian Kitchen. As simple as that, Syrian Kitchen. And I'll probably put a link up on the Facebook page in the comment section, so you can have a look at that as well a little later on. Okay, thank you so much to Najah for being our first participant in this current ambition sharing part of the event. It's time to go to our second participant, who is called Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Adam. How are you?
I am tremendous, because I know what your ambition is about already, and I've already seen a snippet of it as well, so I'm very excited to hear about it. Please share with everybody else what it is that you'd like to do.
Okay, so my goal is to make a film on a true story, based on a true story of a refugee's journey to freedom from Zimbabwe to South Africa. It's a film called The Crossing. I came across a lovely gentleman, an incredible human being named Jonathan Nakala. I met him. He was homeless at the time. I was up in George on the East Coast in South Africa. And I just found some sort of compassion for this human being, and I decided to take him for lunch. And he had told me his entire life story, which is really incredible. I don't know if you want me to fill you in on a little bit of that, or...
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay, so basically his journey starts in Zimbabwe, in a little place called Kwekwe. And... he's living with his mother and he chops wood to make a living. And his dreams and ambitions as a creative young man was poetry and acting. And I saw a lot of my creative self within him. And that kind of just drove me to really want to make a movie about him. He ends up making money and burying it and decides he's going to run away from Zimbabwe so that he can follow his dreams. And he crosses the Zambezi River. He takes a friend with him, and there is loads of danger, like crocodiles and hippo. You know, there's loads of wildlife in Africa. And on this journey that he's embarking on, he ends up in Johannesburg and gets conned into basically the slave trade, working on a tomato farm. He eventually runs away from there, has a hard life on the streets. He contracts TB, HIV, and at that point, he then makes his way to this little town, George, and I happen to meet him and connect with this human being. And I just think he is such a strong person that strives for the best in life. And I just thought that it would be an incredible detailed film and to inspire others about hardships and trials and tribulations through one's life.
What an incredible story he has. Very understandable why you'd want to share it with the world. How can people help you do that?
So at the moment, I'm trying to write a business plan. Obviously, myself being an immigrant, I'm from South Africa, and UK system is very different to the South African system. I'm busy trying to do my business plan in terms of the research at the moment, but understanding how to deliver the best film funding business plan to, say, for instance, I think it's the Arts Council and the British Film Institute. Those are the two that I'm looking at currently. What I wanted to ask the audience was, is there any advice or anyone that's experienced this journey of creating film and going through the business side of things? I've absolutely got all the creative materials in terms of for development, the visuals, and I have a crew. I've got all of that together. Could they help me work through a business plan?
Okay, that's really clear. Thank you. I just wonder about your motivations as well in terms of filmmaking,
Yeah.
and why that is the medium that has called you to tell people stories.
Okay. So in South Africa, I worked with a lot of communities that didn't have a voice. It's always been a passion of mine to give back to those that can't voice their struggles through life. So back home, I was a photojournalist. I used to photograph in the shanty towns, and I spent a lot of time there as a youngster and connected with a lot of people for years. I have loads of friends and what I see as family in these places. And anyway, I used to photograph a lot of things back there. And then I've worked with a lot of movements to gain, what's the word? Sorry, my brain's gone on a blank. I get nervous on these things. Just basically to help them out through really dark times. I mean, I've been in that space and place of not being able to voice things that I need. And within these communities, I also help them, like, say, for instance, they didn't have running water or electricity and things like that, or rights to the land. I would go and do loads of research and go through to Parliament, and we'd try, you know, get the rights and do all sorts of wonderful things for these people.
Well, going back to the current film that you're wanting to make,
yes.
How would you describe his character as a human being?
Glorious. He is a ray of light. He walks into a room and he has these beautiful pearly white teeth that just glow. He has this energy about him that just really makes you want to kind of like match up to that. So he is an incredible man. And I really just want him to be recognized for what and who he is and his journey.
And what would it mean to him, do you think, if you were able to do this and make this a film that got seen in many different places around the world?
I think it would change his whole entire life. I think it would fulfill his dreams and ambition. The reason why he came to this country, I think that would help him achieve exactly that dream, is to live the life that he had dreamed of, being a poet and an actor. So I'd love to help him fulfill that dream.
Wonderful. Well, we've already had a couple of comments come through. One from Patty, who we heard from earlier on, who says, very incredible. You, and she's talking about you, Sam, such an amazing human being yourself. And it comes out in your passion and ambition too. You're doing amazingly well.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just wonder about your background. Like, what films have you made in the past?
So since I've been in the UK, there was a documentary that was released on BBC Two, The Lee Miller, Life on the Front Line. I worked on that set. I was camera assistant filming that. And then previously, I've done a lot of private work. So anything from marketing content for private clients. I've also worked with a pool of practitioners for something called the Blue Pool Network. And then myself and my partner have created something called We Are Together. And it's practitioners and everyone else out there contributing a little bit of knowledge and information to help people through the times of COVID and isolation, or if they are just generally isolated with ailments that are affecting their life. So anything to kind of help anyone out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And before I pass you over to Andy, is there just anything else that you'd be kicking yourself if you didn't say right now in terms of what you might need help with from people?
I have notes that I've written down because I get a lot of stage fright when I have to speak out to a lot of people.
It doesn't come across at all.
I can do everything visually, but as soon as I have to speak, I'm like, oh, brain fog, you know. I'm just having a look at my notes. Yeah, basically, I'd really like to create this film and in future documentaries and film like this, because obviously I've traveled loads and I've experienced a lot of unique individual stories that have gone through tremendous, crazy journeys that I think that, you know, to bring some sort of light to their life and for other people to see what is really happening out there. I know there's lots of coverage all over the world about everything that's happening, but I suppose we all have a unique view on things, and I'd like to just get into the industry. I'd like to make my mark. For me, my ambition is to, you know, be with Quentin Tarantino and Steven Spielberg and Hitchcock and all of those guys. That is my ambition. So anyone that's willing to help me develop things on the business side. I have dyslexia and ADHD as well. So for me, I mean, I absolutely can do my research. I'm trying to do a synopsis and some executive summary. All of these things, I can do them, but I need a little bit of advice and some guidance. So if there's anyone out there, I would love your help.
Well, I'm really inspired listening to you and your plans and your ambitions. And I know that other people are watching this as well. Let's go over to Andy, who has been scribing this for us, and he'll just make sure that he's captured everything for you.
Hello, Sam.
Hello,
Hey.
Andy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm even better for having you on the show. Thank you for joining us. That's
Thanks
brilliant.
for having me.
Oh, pleasure, real pleasure. Actually, there's something wonderful that's coming out of what you're describing that I'm not sure if I captured on this summary sheet. So I'm going to say it now, which is you've met this chap and your experience of inspiration from his story. You know, what I'm getting is how important that is and how much you want to share. It's not just his story that you're looking to share. It's the response that you had. That's what I'm hearing. How uplifting, inspirational, the insight into the kind of journey he's taken from Zimbabwe to South Africa. And you know, I kind of hear that come through with what you're saying. So thank you very much for sharing that.
Thanks,
Listen,
Sandy.
my job, as you know, is to just check in with you now make sure that what I've written up, scrawled on an ambition sheet, one of our ambition calling cards,
Looks wild.
captures what you said. So
Yeah.
if it's all right with you, let's go through it. Are you okay?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. So Sam, really, in short, you want to make a film. And
Yes.
it's the true story of the refugee journey from Zimbabwe to South Africa, based on the inspirational story of the man you've met, of this chap.
Yes.
But it's more than that. What I'm also getting underneath this is not just this lovely thing about you wanting to share that inspiration captured through the art and creativity of your filmmaking from the phenomenal stuff. And you shared some of his journey with us and the trials and stuff that he had to deal with, that moves your own ambition on to becoming an excellent filmmaker, able to influence people's lives in the way that some of those other directors you've mentioned have done. So it's a lovely ambition. To begin with, what I'm hearing is what you'd like is help writing a business plan, but the business plan is really about helping you relate to, link up with, and integrate with organizations like the Arts Council, the BFI, the British Film Institute, and those people, those organizations able to not just help you with the finance and the security of making the film, but also with the distribution and its location within our kind of cultural gallery, as it were. And there's more to this, because this is a launching point. What I'm hearing is that this is a launching point for much more, for you becoming established as a biographical filmmaker or a creative filmmaker, doing more than the kind of corporate stuff that you've mentioned on the side. And we have to do these things. That's fine.
Absolutely,
but,
absolutely.
Yeah. Sam, is there anything else in there that I should have put down on the ambition sheet?
As far as we've gone through the list, that seems pretty much to total everything.
Great. With your permission, I'm going to swap cameras.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Cheers,
Hello.
Andy.
It's nice to see you. Hey,
nice
hi.
to meet you. Hey.
What I'm going to do, if it's all right with you, is going to grab your ambition sheet, your ambition calling card, as we're supposed to call them, and pop them up here on the wall of ambition, and do the whole spiel that I do with it. Which is to say, Sam, thank you very much. Let's get your ambition up on the wall of ambitions. And the wall of ambitions is the main vehicle for a very gentle sharing, very gentle exchange. To be honest with you, in the way that, what was the name of the refugee chap that you met again? I'm afraid I
Jonathan. His name is Jonathan Nkala.
Jonathan Nkala. In the way that Jonathan Nkala has kind of touched the world, it's in a very small way. Being able to see other people's ambitions helps to touch people's lives. Here you're talking about something. There you are. You sat and listened to his whole life story, and that's a fantastic thing, a very generous thing to do. For people to kind of share their ambitions, there's a certain generosity about it. And I thank you and Najjar for doing so, because what happens is as people browse these things, it connects them with stuff that people find that they're passionate about. And it widens their view of who these people are, and by reflection, who we are. So our invitation to people who are watching, and normally we'd be out there on the street, so our invitation to anybody passing by would be to just have a good nose, have a browse, just gently read these at your own pace. And if you feel like making a comment, a little word of encouragement, some tips and advice, maybe even that someone who could actually do something. If, for example, a creative fundraiser who can do some specific work for Sam and give a specific advice, please let us know, and we'll be delighted to make that connection. And of course, anyone who wants to go along on that journey, can be a part of that. If your dream is to become a filmmaker as well, or if your dream is a part of that thing that connects to the whole Syrian food, then get in touch and we'll make the connection. Sam, that's the essence of what we do here. Oh, someone popped up there. I think we're going to get some nice comments as time goes on. What I'll do then is pretty much invite Adam to join us, because what we do here is just say to people, if you'd like to join in, there are some nice ways that you can contact us. And Adam here is going to tell you exactly how you can do so.
Okay.
No pressure, Adam.
3 ways to do it. One is to simply leave a message underneath the Facebook video or the YouTube video that you're watching, or you can click on the link that you'll find next to this video somewhere, and you can actually join us here in the broadcast yourself. Or you can send a message on WhatsApp on your phone to Agatha, and the number is right there, right below Sam and now right below me. So if you send a WhatsApp message, Agatha will pass that on to us. I'm just going to check now just to see if any have come through there. But we've had a couple of nice comments come through. So Khalid has said, sounds cool. Great idea, I think.
Thank you, Khalid.
And it's Lampan Mianotti again, who says, Sam, you delivered your vision with clarity and passion. You are an inspiration. I want to see this film come to life on screen. I don't know what I can do to help, but I feel compelled to help. What would you like to say?
Oh, thank you so much. That's incredible to hear, really. Thank you. That inspires me even more to create.
And in response to you, Lam, thank you very much for your comment. Who do you know who's in the creative industry? Or who do you know who might be in the creative industry? Because these are how the connections make. And one of the things I love about living in Brighton and Hove is it's crammed full of really creative people. So if you know somebody who knows somebody, give them a nudge. Say, hey, could you possibly help with this? Or if you know somebody who, knows the business side of thing, and Adam and I we'll be, doing our best to make some connections there as well. Actually, I have it on good authority that one of the people watching is really top ace at businesses as well.
Nice.
I'm looking at you, Toby. Anyway, then we'll sort of look to make those connections. So, Lam, yeah, who do you know? Who do you know who you might know?
Thank you. Well, in fact, we can actually pop over to Toby and Elaine now because they've got a tip or two to share with you, Sam.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Sam.
Hey.
What a wonderful idea and ambition you have. And you've clearly gone and done some amazing traveling around and putting yourself out there and really finding good stories and putting yourself out there to meet great people too. So I think I would first say, Andy said that I might be able to help you with business things. I'm actually, in many respects, a terrible advocate for business plans. I probably wouldn't listen to my advice in that respect. But there is a great community in Brighton called the Happy Startup School, and they're very good at providing very simple tools and resources around putting together very short and snappy business plans, which are more for your own benefit than for the likes of, say, the Arts Council and so on. So I'm sure they probably do have some quite specific things that they're looking for, like and so on. And with that said, what your idea for both the film and the story that you want to share? It sounds like a very credible route for crowdfunding as well. And there's a huge number of success stories in this space already that would probably convince you of that. And there's someone else again based in Brighton. I don't know where you're based. Are you?
I'm in Uckfield in East Sussex.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's a crowdfunding consultancy based down in Brighton called Crowdfund 360, which is run by a really cool girl, Jess, and she specialises in issues related to refugee issues and rights and so on as well. And she's helped fund a really, really both broad and high volume number of projects around refugee rights and issues and so on.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah, I think she's just gone over. I think she announced this week that her company's now raised over £3 million in crowdfunding for different projects.
That's incredible.
Really incredible stuff. So what I do is introduce you to her because I think the project fits really well, and B, I think that would be a good route to go in terms of trying to secure some, even if it's a small pot of funding just to get you started or whatever. That might be a more a less labour-intensive route than buying dozens of applications and creating huge business plans and so on as well. So
Yeah.
that would be my advice. I know Elaine's got something that she'd like to suggest too.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, your project sounds. Oops, hang on, sorry. Your project sounds amazing. I was going to say another option is Chuff, which is a crowdfunding platform, and they also specialise in refugee-related matters. They're amazingly helpful, and they can give you advice on how to promote a crowdfunding campaign. In regards to your dyslexia and applying for funding, I know that the Arts Council specifically helps people who are dyslexic to complete their applications. I'm dyslexic as well, and it's been told to me to contact the Arts Council if I'm doing an application, and they can help scribe things for you. I don't know if that's still available, but I think it is. And if you want to do some research into other projects that have managed to fundraise enough for like a film to be made, there's one called On Our Doorstep, which is a documentary about the Calais jungle, and they managed to do a lot of campaigning and managed to get there about £8,500 in crowdfunded money, but they did it in a really strategic way. So maybe just check them out and maybe see how they did it. And I'm sure that they're really approachable as well if you wanted to be in contact and just see, how they raise that money.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Elaine. A fountain of knowledge, you two over there. We're really grateful you're there. Thanks a lot. We'll come back to you again a little bit later on. Thank you. A question as well from Patty, who says, you might not be at liberty to share this, Sam, so that's okay, but she's asking, where is Jonathan based now?
He's currently based in George in South Africa.
There we are. Okay. Lovely. Right. Well, Sam, that's plenty to digest there as well. I've put a couple of the links there that Elaine was talking about as a comment underneath the Facebook live video. It's being broadcast right now, so you can go there and check those out as well. So Chuff and the Arts Council. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to share before you go?
Just thank you so much. I'm humbled to be on here, and I think your team is amazing.
Oh, you're very kind. No, we really appreciate you being there. It's really inspiring to listen to what you want to do, and we're really excited to follow the progress of it as well.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thanks, Sam.
Take care, guys. Cheers.
Lovely. Okay, that's our second participant in this part down, and we've got more to come. And the next person up is somebody called Ruth, who is from an organisation called Safe Passage, who do amazing work, and Ruth herself can tell you all about that. Ruth, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, do you want to tell us all about what it is that currently you want to do?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, like you say, Adam, I work for an organisation called Safe Passage, and we're based nationwide. Our offices are in London, but we also have office in Greece and in France as well. So as Toby and Elaine previously alluded to, we're actually working quite closely together on our Young Leaders programme. So that's kind of my role within Safe Passage, is mainly work with the young people who are based here in the UK and who want to speak out about these issues, get involved in our campaigns and develop skills in campaigning and advocacy. And one thing that we're working really closely with the group of young leaders on at the moment is, as Toby mentioned, around the issue of family reunification. So I guess maybe what might be useful is if I give a bit of context on where we're at right now with it, because it's kind of progressed over the last few months, and we're really, afterwards I can kind of give a few requests, I guess, for people out there to do different actions and any other ideas that people might have for our campaign to help kind of for it to gain more traction, because it's a really crucial time for it, and yeah, we've got to do everything we can to protect it really in the UK, because basically where we stand at the moment, back in 2018, due to lots of campaigning that went on with Safe Passage and with Hummingbird and lots of other organisations coming together, the government actually voted and agreed to basically have a legal obligation to continue to kind of negotiate with the EU so that family reunion would continue after Brexit. Because at the moment what we have is the Dublin 3 regulation, and that's part of EU law. So obviously, once we leave fully at the end of this year, we won't be part of that same regulation anymore. which means that we need to make sure there's a replacement for it. Because if we don't, there'll be lots of children and vulnerable adults who have left their countries, made it to a place in Europe, but who have family in the UK and therefore should come to the UK and be able to actually travel here safely and legally to join their family members here. And that's what happens at the moment with the Dublin 3 regulation. So yeah, that's all part of the EU regulation. It's all part of the way that the different EU member states work together to make sure that refugees who come to Europe are able to travel to another EU member state if they have family there. So the government in 2018 said they would make sure that they would include that in the negotiations with the EU. But at the start of this year, in January, they removed that legal obligation from the Brexit bill. So, but in doing so, they also committed to continuing it. So both verbally and in writing on several occasions, the government said that they would make sure that they continued family reunion after Brexit. However, in the past few weeks, what they've put out in their negotiating position with the EU doesn't look great. It is there. Family reunion is there, and they say that they're going to continue it. But it's much weaker than it is at the moment as an EU law. So a lot of things about it are not great. One of the main things is that it's basically entirely discretionary. So there's no actual legal obligation for the Home Office to kind of to work on a case to bring a child here if they have family here. It's up to the whim of the government and the Home Office whether they do so or not. So even though on paper they're saying yes, we think family reunion is important for child refugees and we want to continue it, looking in the details of what they've written, there's really no like legal kind of backing to make sure that they will every single case make sure it happens. So it's very worrying, and we're doing a lot of work on it as an organisation at the moment. And we're working really closely with the young people that we work with through Young Leaders, most of whom have come to the UK in the past few years through family reunion themselves and are now in a safe place with their family. Know how important it is that we need to continue this more than anyone. So yeah, we're working with them, and we're putting out, we're kind of thinking about those messages, thinking about their experiences and why it's important for family reunification to continue. So yeah, I don't know if maybe you want me to talk now about like some of the things that people could do.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to ask. How can people help? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Yeah, there's lots of things that people can do to help support the campaign, which would be really, really helpful. That I've shared some links with you, Adam, and I don't know if we can share it later on the Facebook page or however you think's best. Oh, a little share screen. That's great. Fantastic. So yeah, this is on our website. If you go on the Safe Passage website, you'll see an option to email your MP to protect family reunion. And basically there's a kind of draft that you just send off, and you just need to put in your postcode and it will email your MP automatically. So please do that if you want to support the campaign. That would be really great. And then another step with engagement with your MP is that we're actually in the process right now of putting an amendment forward for the immigration bill, which is in the process of being voted on over the next few weeks in Parliament. And this amendment has the backing of quite a few MPs already, and I'm pretty sure that it's cross-party. So we have backing from a few Labour MPs, Lib Dem, and also one Conservative MP, which is really great. But any more MPs who can support the amendment actively, not just vote on it when it comes into the bill, but actually kind of put their name to it now, will really give it a lot more strength. So we've got a briefing which we're sending out, which has had the kind of support from lots of refugee organisations around the country, which is basically for MPs to kind of try to ask them to support this amendment. and we could send that round, maybe, Adam, or if anyone would like my email address, you know, to kind of ask more information about that, then that's fine. And yeah, so that's kind of an additional step of if you think that your MP is supportive of this, to actually actively ask them to support that amendment would be really great. And then another thing that we've got out there is a change.org petition, which has been running for a while, and it's kind of like because this has been at risk for so long, and things keep changing within it. Lots of people are kind of finding this petition and adding their name to it. So you can see it's already got 300,000 people, I think, pretty much. And yeah, if you can add your name to the petition, that would be brilliant. Again, I think the link to that is on our website. So if you go on the website, then there's a link to the Email Your MP tool and the change.org petition. But yeah, I'd also love to hear any other suggestions people have, really, of, you know, different ways that we can get this issue out here, because it's so important, and it's such a serious thing that it's not going to be as strong, you know, for child refugees to join their families here. But there's so much going on out there, you know, obviously with the situation we're in, and even in the context of the immigration bill, there's so many different elements to it that this isn't, you know, we need to make sure this is an issue that people know about, and so it can gain traction. So yeah, just anything else, any other ideas or suggestions or different organizations that people can link us up with, that would be great.
Thank you, Ruth. Just bear in mind there's a huge delay when we talk, so you'll hear a big gap and think, oh, have I disappeared? But no. Can I just ask you, on a human level, why is it so important that young refugees and other places stuck in Europe are reunited with their families? What would happen to them if they're not?
Yeah, I think it's like you say, Adam, it's a great question. It's so important to focus on that, and I think it's a really difficult situation that a lot of unaccompanied child refugees are in right now in Europe. A lot of them, for example, in Greece, in the camps in Greece, are really struggling. The conditions are really bad, and you know, lack of sanitation, lack of food and medicine, and general support for children there. And I think the really important thing to remember is that if a young child is, or you know, a young person, someone who's under 18, is in such a desperate situation, has made it that far, knows that they have family in the UK, but feels, you know, like they're in this desperate situation where the UK won't help them to actually be put on a flight, basically, from Greece, or put on a train from Calais, wherever they are, to actually just get that ticket and to be able to get on a plane or a train to the UK, where they can finally be somewhere safe with their family. They're in such a desperate situation, and there are people out there who will be telling these young people on a daily basis that there's another way that they can do it, and a way that is very dangerous and may cost them their lives. And I think that's a really important thing that we need to remember. These young people, you know, they are in this situation through no choice of their own. And if there's one place in Europe where their only family members are, surely that's the place where they should be able to get to safely, and in a way that isn't going to be dangerous for them. And yeah, I think, you know, we've worked with young people, and we know of young people who, because they've felt like there's been no other option for them, or they've had to wait so long. You know, even at the moment, the family reunion process isn't perfect by any means. It takes a long time sometimes for the cases to be accepted. That, you know, people have taken much more dangerous routes to arrive in the UK, and have lost friends and loved ones who have attempted it and not succeeded. And I think we just, you know, to really get that message across to the government that this isn't gonna increase the level of like illegal immigration, which is, yeah, as I think Percy mentioned earlier, definitely there's no such thing as an illegal refugee. But in their eyes, you know, this having a family reunion law that is kind of concrete and legal is going to do the exact opposite. That is going to mean that young people can travel in a way that is safe, where they can just board a plane, arrive at the airport, just like all of us do in normal times, at least, even if we can't do now, you know. It just feels like it's such an obvious thing that we need, you know, for the young people who are in those situations to be able to access that. So yeah,
agreed. And thank you so much for describing that really, really eloquently as well, so we can all gauge the seriousness of it and the urgency as well. So I'm going to pass you over to Andy, who's been writing all of that down.
Thank you. Hi, Andy.
Hello, hi, Ruth. Hi. Welcome to the show. Yours is a slightly unusual ambition for what we normally deal with. Personally, as you know, Adam and I are very happy to have this ambition in here. There's room for every type of ambition within Ambigo, from, you know, even something very, very personal. And we love selfishness, frankly, because it's where our passions lie, to something as wide-reaching and as generous and outside of ourselves as this. Ambigo is not a political movement, but what you've got here is a nicely, eloquently put ambition, which has meaning, has value. So yeah, it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to put this up. That said, let's see if I've got it right, shall we? What I'd like to do is just go through this with you and make sure I've got the salient points. Yeah?
Great.
Right. Well, hello, Ruth. You're from Safe Passage, which is clearly an organisation, you know, with a function, and you're currently focusing on running a campaign to maintain the family reunion for faculty, the facility that you eloquently told us about, for refugees, incoming children to connect with their families, specifically in the UK when they've made it across into the other EU states. And as you shared with us, and we can see from the press and so on, that this facility is under threat. There's a fuzziness emerging. There's a wishy-washiness emerging around it. And that puts a lot of insecurity in what I think any parent, anyone who has children or nieces or anyone who has who sees the vulnerability that young people can go through would understand as a fundamental human right. To see that threatened is really quite chilling. So it's good that you're bringing this to our attention. In terms of the help that you're asking for, eloquently done, Ruth. Bullet pointed. I've even bullet pointed it here. Please support the campaign. Please also have a little look at your Safe Passage website, where you not only detailed this, but you've provided tools to help people do so. Step one, email your MP. I live in Brighton and Hove. I live in the Pavilion area. I know my MP is somebody who actually I'm really pleased to have as an MP. And you know, emailing her would basically be something that, you know, I don't think there'd be much pushback for her receiving that message.
I would say so.
Interesting is where there is pushback. So your call for people to email their MP when that MP doesn't necessarily agree with this, you know, that becomes very powerful.
Yeah.
Support the amendment that's currently going through Parliament through whatever process, you know, lobby the MP, let them know that you're in that, you support the amendment, ask them, as you said, to see whether they would be prepared to not just vote for it, but actually speak up and voice and demonstrate their endorsement of that amendment, which would be a powerful kind of statement. And of course, you've mentioned the change.org petition, the most current version reflecting the current situation. And I love this last request of yours. I think it's brilliant. This is where Ambigo starts to really sail. This is where our strength is. When people are kind enough to say, is there anything else I could do? How could I do this? Because if there is an asset about living in a city full of wonderful people, is just how insightful, how lateral thinking, how crazy, wild ideas that they may have. So there you are. You've dared to ask for tips and advice.
Yes, please.
And I celebrate that because, you know, if you're out there and you're watching this and you happen to, I don't know, you just read all of Saul Alinsky's Reveille for Rebels and all this thing about how to enact change in government and in our kind of systems, and you want to join Ruth and exercise some of these non-violent but highly powerful social disruption activities, then, you know, get in touch with us. We'll put in touch with her. She might be scared and go, what? Or might say, yeah, this is brilliant. Sure, it's legal. Let's give it a go. Anyway, I sort of go off on a tangent there because, you know, like I said, Ambigo's strength, if we have one, is basically you watching, because you have insight to your lived experience. You know what it feels like to be you. You know what influences you. You know what influences people around you. And if Ruth wants anything, it's tips and advice on influencing some people who, frankly, we would like to influence. Ruth, have I captured your ambition, to use that term? Have I captured your ambition succinctly, or at least enough?
Definitely. Thank you, Andy. That was great. Yeah, for sure. Very well captured.
In which case, with your permission, I'd like to swap cameras and say hi.
Hello.
Oh, wow. It's nice to see you. That's what you look like. Great. And of course, hi. This is what I look like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your ambition. Well, I say your ambition, your campaign, and your information about your campaign, which we've framed up as an ambition because this is what Ambigo is about. And place it here on our wall of ambitions. Now, Ruth, you know this. Normally, this wall of ambition goes out for a lot of the stuff we do. We're funded by the local co-op community funds, and we also manage to get snacks. You know, kind of healthy stuff and some really delicious non-healthy cupcakes and so on. And it becomes part of our offer to people to just come on up, read these ambitions at their own pace. Interact, build a little relationship with them, dream about what other people are dreaming about, respond to people's calls for larger action as well as smaller action, and be a part of it. And if you feel so inspired, grab one of the post-it notes, as what we say, or one of the pens we have lying around, and leave a comment, perhaps a few words of encouragement, or some tips and advice, like Ruth just dared to ask for. Is there something else you can do? Kind of mass demonstrations that really kind of bring home that kind of upswell of want and so on. Or you know somebody who can actually do something. Are you best friends with a certain MP in a certain area who you know is going to be voting? Come on, give him or her a nudge and say, yeah, come on, have a look at this. Put them in direct, I dare you, put them in direct contact with Ruth and with this ambition. Or other kind of contacts, direct contacts are useful. For example, if you do happen to know somebody in the Arts Council who'd be a mentor to Sam or stuff like that, then get in touch. And of course, if this touches you, or you really understand how it could touch people, and you want to join Ruth in the campaign, help there, I'm sure she could do with a lot of help. There's the information to process, other people to send messages to, lobbying, lots of information and so on, and be a part of the campaign. We too would be very happy to make that connection. Ruth, as I've been talking about it, have any other thoughts come up for you? Any other things that you quite like, or?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Yeah, a few more things, I guess. Just just kind of thinking, you know, about what you were saying about different people's like skill sets and experiences, and you know, just anyone who's watching who has direct experience of like of family reunification, like who knows how important this is to continue in the UK. You know, I'd especially welcome to reach out to me, and Ambigo can help put us in touch. You know, if you want to get more actively involved in this campaign in whatever way you want, you know, it's any background, any experience that you've got. We also have a group of like quite engaged grassroots campaigners around the country that my colleague Mia is she coordinates that. So if you're someone who wants to do more than just email your MP and really wants to kind of get more regularly engaged with our group of campaigners, then that's also a space where you could become, you know, a member of, and I could put you in touch with my colleague. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to say, echo what you were saying, Andy. Like any background that any place where you are in the UK, or even outside of the UK, you know, yeah, if you want to get more involved, then just get in touch.
I mean, off the top of my head, it's a lovely thing. Thank you for adding that, and hello to Mia. You know, if you happen to be a family therapist, or you just have a family, if you know that connection, if you've ever been separated from your family, and so on, the lived experience is really going to help with this, and so on. So great. You know, Ruth, it now comes time to just let people know how they can get in touch with us. And we love, in Ambigo, we love repeating ourselves. Adam, do we love repeating ourselves? I love repeating myself. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's worth doing because there are people that are tuning in all the time who aren't aware of how to get in touch. So there are 3 ways you can do it. You can leave a comment underneath the Facebook video or the YouTube video that you're now watching, or you can click on the link that you'll see either above or below this video, and you'll join us here in the broadcast in the backstage area. Or you can send a message on WhatsApp if that's what you prefer. And the number is right there, bottom of your screen. It will scroll back around. Agatha is waiting for your messages on WhatsApp, ready to pass them back on through to us. So I'm going to bring in a comment here from Anne, first of all, who simply says, I'm listening. It's important to learn. So just to let you know, Ruth, that people are paying attention to the words you put across. And then Lam again with another comment for us. Thank you so much. This is life-changing work, and I will sign the petition and email my MP in Brighton. Being a refugee myself, my family fled Vietnam after the Vietnam War, so this is important to me on a personal level. I do have an indirect contact who is an MP in London.
Yes.
Fantastic. That would be great. Maybe we can talk more, Lam.
Yes. Thanks so much for your comment there, Lam. It's much appreciated. Wonderful. Okay, so we've got 1 or 2 bits that we will want to communicate over after this as well. But we'll be sending on any more support that comes our way, or any ideas, or any people that say they want to get in touch with you and support the cause as well, Ruth.
Thanks so much.
All right, lovely. Thanks so much for sharing all of that. Thanks so much for the work you do as well.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. Okay, Andy, I'm going to ask you to delve into your past event ambitions and look for Katerina. And while you do that, I'm going to actually bring up what I'm talking about. So in a previous event that we had, there was somebody called Katerina who came on, and she shared what her ambition was. And her ambition was to set up a new service to help refugees in Greece. So I'm going to do a nifty screen share now and show you what Katerina's ambition is all about. So this is a social media post that we wrote about her ambition, and here is Katerina herself.
There she is.
So what it's all about is, well, she said to us that her goal was to improve the mental health of refugee people living in camps, and more precisely in Moria camp in Lesbos. And that's the biggest refugee camp in Europe, because the conditions are very poor, she said. That's, to put it mildly, they're desperately tragic. The people went through many traumatic events there, and they still are. And she said she wanted to do something about it. So she's aiming to run some research to design an evidence-based multidisciplinary program, which would include sport, breathwork, meditation, community-based activities. And what she needs to do is run through some research to find out which of those practices would be the most effective. So this is something that is clearly really close to her heart. And she's got personal experience as well from some of the issues that she's talking about. But she says it's very important to her because she's been there herself. So she's been in Moria and she's volunteered, as you can see here. And she's been through some of the traumatic events while she was volunteering in Lesbos. And she said she's had to deal with the symptoms of post-traumatic stress. It's affected her capacity to make decisions, and it really affected her work while she was there. And to help overcome the effects of post-traumatic stress, Katerina actually herself did yoga and meditation and a lot of breath work, she said, as well as psychosocial sessions. And she learned a lot about what post-traumatic stress is and its effects. And so now she's determined to extend the same tools to refugees who really need it. So in terms of the things that you watching at home might be able to help with. Well, she said she's looking to find partners to work alongside to design this project together and implement it in Moria camp in Lesvos in Greece. And who knows, in other refugee camps as well, or refugee communities in host countries. She's also looking for people who are experienced in meditation and breath work. If they've worked with refugees, that's a big bonus. She's also wanting collaborations with people who do psychosocial sessions around trauma and its effects. And also she needs information on funding or PhD scholarships. So if you have any information, any contacts, any advice, or any other support for Katerina, or maybe you yourself want to get involved in this, then again, you can comment on this Facebook video or on the YouTube video, or you can click on the link that's next to it and you'll join us here in the broadcast, or you can send a message on WhatsApp and we'll be able to pass it on through to Katerina. Now, I wonder if anything from my memory fails me. I wonder if there's anything that you remember, Andy, from the conversation we had with Katerina that I've not mentioned there. But I can see already you've got the ambition calling card up on the wall.
Yeah, no, you remembered it very, very well, I thought. And it was really lovely. We had a little support from Julia. You remember Julia, who made a couple of comments. And they included some local contacts that might be able to really help. And these are going to be familiar to some people. For example, the Brighton Table Tennis Club, which we know and love, and the fantastic work that they do. Julia thought that checking with them might be a really good point for accessing that sort of information. And also she talked about the Sanctuary on Sea, the Cities of Sanctuary campaign, and the contacts that. And it's really nice to to have been around and contacted a lot of the Cities of Sanctuaries to let them know that this evening's going on. And of course, locally, for this type of work, it might be worth looking at the IDS, the I forget, it's Development Institute for Development Studies over at the University of Sussex, who may well be able to help her access a PhD program around that. But yes, I think you captured that absolutely perfectly. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place the, hey, hi, it's me. It's place the Katerina's ambition calling card on the wall.
Da, 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 da.
Now, if you have more thoughts than you could possibly contribute to this, Katerina was lovely. It was lovely when you came on, Katerina. Thank you for your personal candor, your honesty about going through PTSD, for the post-trauma, the struggles you had. That kind of honesty really grounds these ambitions. It helps people understand them. And she did, didn't she? She shared us a lot with that. And it also gave us the insight to why this is something that was something that she felt so passionate about. So if you know someone or some tips and advice that can help her with this, please do get in touch. It will be an honor to be able to make that connection.
Lovely, thank you, Andy. We've got a final person to share their goal, idea, or ambition this evening, and it's Patty, who, if you've been watching from the start, you will have seen earlier. So let's bring in Patty again. Good evening, Patty. Thank you for sticking with us. It's an absolute pleasure to have you along, a privilege too. Now, as Nakib mentioned at the top of the event, you are multi-talented. So when I ask you about a goal or an idea or an ambition that you'd like to share, you've got so many. What would you like to share with us this evening in this part of the event? Your microphone is on mute at the moment, Patty.
Bringing all of those skills.
Sorry, can you start again for us, Patty? Now? Your microphone was on mute, but it's unmuted now. We can hear you now, so go ahead.
All right, thank you. Okay. Yes, you are right, but I think I've been working at this point in bringing my skills together so that I can kind of like create that particular one that really drives me. I feel all of them drive me, but the one I absolutely love, just bringing out the best in people. So I love to coach. I find that I'm a very good problem solver. If someone has a problem, my brain just automatically goes on to coaching mode on looking at different ways of looking at the problem and finding a solution for it. And I really get a buzz at seeing people achieve what they want to achieve. I suppose because personally for me, it's a long story. So, you know, I only was given a certain amount of time to speak here. But with my journey in life, I always wanted to be an artist, but along the way, I had a lot of hurdles that I had. So I could have ended up not being an artist. But because I never gave up on that, you know, it is my ambition to help other people not give up on their ambitions on and just to help people identify their goals. And I'm aware that some people don't really know what their ambition is, and they just need that someone to help them to just tease out and help them through identifying their values and, you know, the message within their story. So I'd love to just coach people and help them do that and empower them to be empowered through their own story so they can also empower other people. I think there's also one other one that I'm very passionate about. Again, it's coaching, but it's using my art as a coaching tool, as a therapeutic tool. So yeah, just those two. So I think I'm kind of like
Okay. Well, tell us how we or the people watching can actually help you to do more of this.
Okay, I am scheduled to launch on I think it's the 19th of June, a 5-day challenge on identifying your value and your message within your story and how to turn that into a business for yourself, an online business for yourself. So you could help promote that, I guess.
There we are. Get the word spread out. So is this on your own website? Is it on pattymunguni.co.uk?
Not yet, but I've been working on it. Because this is what I've been spending sleepless nights on. I mean, honestly, I get up at night dreaming about my challenge, what it's going to be like, and I have to get up at silly o'clock and start writing these ideas down. So even me speaking it out now, my gosh, I can't believe I've just done that because this is like a leap of faith for me.
Oh, I love these moments where we're the platform for that leap.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Yes, I'd love to do that. So, yeah. So, it'll be a 5-day challenge. And thereafter, I have a program that people can sign up to then do, you know, go through the program so that by the end of that, they've got their story, they've got their message, they know what it is they can have to help other people with. And hopefully feel empowered themselves by then anyway.
That's what I was about to ask. Why is it so enjoyable? Why is it so enjoyable to you and so important to you? Why do you love it so much to help coach people, to help them find their message, find their purpose, and feel empowered?
It's very important for me because I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to not have that. You know, I mean, I had it, but through life's journey, you know, life hasn't been easy. I mean, I'm from Zimbabwe originally. So having had certain struggles I had in Zimbabwe that I kind of like brought upon myself, to be honest, because I was quite fortunate. I was brought up in a home where I didn't lack anything. But out of me rebelling and dropping out of school, I made life difficult for myself. So I ended up being kicked out of home and then having to grow up overnight and just be responsible as a parent. And then just tell myself, you know what, dropping out of school, I'm not going to make this the end of the world for me. I'm still going to make it with my children. So I worked hard to make sure I did that. And I was living under very harsh conditions where my mother-in-law was, she is mixed race. She's my ex-mother-in-law now, but she absolutely detested me. And I lived under such harsh, horrible racial environment for 5 years of my life. So I had to be strong and keep my ambition for what I wanted to do going within that. And the fact that I did it, you know, I just want to encourage other people that never let anything that comes your way stop you achieving what you want to achieve. So that's probably why really I have a passion for it. And also I have a passion for young people I mean, I think you guys work with is it Hummingbird? Because
Yes.
I've actually delivered a therapeutic art session for young people in Brighton and Hove, where I worked with the subject of identity, which I absolutely love. Again, the reason I love that subject is without us being comfortable in our own identities as human beings, you know, and that's everyone. I don't care whether you're red, blue, yellow, green, whatever. You know, you just need to be comfortable in yourself. And that's just the best way you can be the best you can be, you know. So, yeah, I have a real big passion for that. And I think once you're comfortable in that, it's a lot easier for you to feel empowered, and then you can empower others.
Yeah. Well, I think this is music to the ears of Elaine from Hummingbird Project, because of course she works with young refugees in the Brighton and Hove area. Elaine, what do you say to Patty?
Well, as we've mentioned earlier, we've got a young leaders group, and we meet every week. And what we don't have is any girls in that group. And we were just speaking this year about how we want to reach out to more young people, females as well. And you know, what you're saying just sounds like, you know, it's so kind of similar to what we're trying to do with young leaders. And I would absolutely love to have a chat with you about how maybe we can work together. You know, bringing you in to meet young people and coaching them, or, you know, just inspiring them with your story, or getting involved with our Young Leaders program. I think that would have been an amazing outcome for us anyway. And you seem like you've got a lot of wisdom, and yeah, you're very inspiring, and we'd love to chat more to you about that.
Yes, I think I've delivered to your young people before, haven't I? Yes,
I might be on maternity leave when that happened, but yes, actually,
oh,
Sarah.
yes,
Sarah
you were. Yes,
yes,
you were.
Yeah.
We had it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, the feedback was great. We had some of your young people really engaged and just, you know, yeah, that was great. I absolutely love it. I mean, I come alive in that, you know, and yeah, I think sorry?
I would love to speak outside of this.
Yes,
great.
all right, Elaine, that would be great. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, both of you. These connections being made are what this is all about. People putting their ambitions out to the world, and then the universe responds. So thank you so much to both of you. Normally we go over to Andy at this point, but unfortunately, I hope he'll forgive me, but we're running out of time and we've still got a couple of things we need to do. Thank you, Elaine. We'll come back for a quick word to say goodbye in just a couple of minutes, if that's okay. But just to bring up a comment from Maha, who says, "You are inspirational." Now, I think you know Maha, right?
Do I? Maha Mustafa. If I see him, I might know him.
Well, Maha is also very inspirational. Somebody who does a lot of great work in Brighton and Hove. And this is in relation to the previous ambition we were talking about, just incidentally, but it's a nice one from Miriam, who says, "I would love to get in touch with Katerina, who we were talking about just 5 minutes ago or so. I also have had the ambition of doing psychosocial activities with people living in refugee camps for a while, and have worked on similar projects in Moria. So that sounds like a perfect match." Okay, well, thank you so much, Patty. We'll continue to send on any kind of support that we get for you, or anybody interested in working with you and benefiting from your coaching. But for now, thank you so much for your talk this evening, and also for sharing so honestly as well, in a very inspirational way. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So that's all of our ambitioneers, as we like to call them, for tonight, the people that are coming on to share their goals, ideas and ambitions. Andy, what I'm going to do now, if it's okay with you, is to actually share what is coming up elsewhere in Refugee Week. Now, this might take a little bit of jiggery-pokery on my part in terms of the technical side of things, but there's quite a lot that is going on that I would like to share. So I'm trying to do a screen share, but it's not working, which is typical of tonight, because the internet has not been our friend. But anyhow, just to share with you, let's see if I can No, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to have to read out to you what's going on. But there's an event tomorrow from Euromernet Cultural Heritage Club, and they have a very special guest tomorrow. And we're going to be hearing about the life and times of Shadi K. And Shadi K is a music teacher and translator from Syria, and he'll be speaking between 6 and 7 p.m. tomorrow. So you can find out more about that by going to facebook.com/Euromernet. Now, I was going to read out a few more events, but since I can't show them to you on the screen, the best thing to do is to go to Brighton Refugee Week on Facebook, and you can click on their events tab on the left of the screen, and you'll see all of the events there. So Brighton Refugee Week on Facebook, and that's the best place to go. Okay,
we'll get the link up.
Yes, we will. We are there. We are at the end of our event, which is sad to say. But we're going to bring in Elaine just to say a quick goodbye as well, because Elaine from Hummingbird has been marvelous in not only doing all the work she does, but putting together this event with us and bringing us a wonderful host in Nakib, who marvelously and magnificently, stoically overcame the technical problems at the start. And also Percy, who, Elaine, he was a bit of a revelation. What a speaker you've got on your hands there. Oh, you're on mute.
I think I know. Yeah, they're absolutely incredible, aren't they? Really inspiring. All of our young leaders are just, you know, incredible human beings and are really going to make a huge difference to the world. But yeah, massive thank you from us, and just wanted to highlight that we are fundraising at the moment. If you go to the Hummingbird Project's Facebook page, on the top of our page will be a fundraiser, and also on our website, if you click donate, it will send you to the same fundraiser. We're trying to get money to reach out to more young people. The crisis, the pandemic, has caused all services to go into crisis and go. Everyone's you know, reduced capacity, which means social services, healthcare, mental health, everything. So our service is more important than ever to continue, and we're seeing huge amounts of mental health issues to do with PTSD, and it's not being seen. And we really want to bring in some experts to join us to help reach out to more young people. So please, if you can, go to our page and donate. And if you can't donate, just share the fundraiser. We'd be really, really pleased if you could do that. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, all of you.
Yes, thank you. So that's hummingbirdproject.org.uk. That's the address. Hello, Toby. Yeah, and also just a nice little comment here from Ruby. And she says that the Sanctuary on Sea website lists Refugee Week events happening this week. And there's the link. So if you go to Facebook, you'll also be able to click on that link. Thank you so much, Ruby, who has also done an incredible amount of work in preparing for Refugee Week. And we thank you as well, Ruby, for promoting this event as well. So all the people watching have been able to find it. Right, we're done. But it's so worth going back to the start. So as soon as we finish here, the video will remain available on Facebook and on YouTube. Go back if you weren't there at the beginning and watch the talks from Patty and Percy, because they are very powerful and they're the kind of thing that need to be heard, and you won't regret it. So thank you and goodbye from me.
And from me.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, everyone.
See ya. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.